Now let's take a look at a board that's already been built. But first I'd like to mention that all the features in Virbeya are described in detail in the FAQ section of our site. This is where you'll find the most information on how to use Virbeya. To enter a board, simply click on the board name. When the board loads, you'll notice that it's organized into lanes, and each lane contains groups of tiles. The tiles are attached or linked to documents and websites and reports. Each item on the board has a status. You can change the status by clicking on it and selecting a new status. If you don't want the status to display on an item, simply open up the edit mode for that item and uncheck the include status box. Once you save the item, that status will be removed. For the most part, statuses are set manually, like you just saw me do. But for the case of lanes, you can also choose to set the status automatically by the system. In this case, we've selected an algorithm that will set the lane status based on the percentage of the statuses of the tiles within that lane. Therefore, if more than 10% of the statuses of the tiles within the lane are a certain color, then it will change the lane status to that color. Here I'll set the tile status to red. And since it has now surpassed the 10% threshold, the lane status will also be red. Another interesting feature that's quite useful is the tag feature. You can add tags to tiles by selecting existing tags from the drop-down, or you can add new tags by simply typing in a tag name and hitting enter. Once you've added tags to a number of tiles, as I'm doing right now, you'll have the ability to filter based on these tags. In the Filter tab, you can filter based on tag, you can filter based on status, or last modified date of that tile. You can also enter a keyword to filter by. The board summary is another tab that you find on the left-hand navigation bar. This will show you a list of all the lanes and their associated status. You can navigate directly to a lane by clicking on it, or you can show and hide lanes by checking and unchecking this box. If you require some support, you can send us a message through this support tab. The highlighted filter tab is showing us that the filter is still applied. We can turn it off in a couple ways. We can just disable the filter to re-enable it again later, or we can clear the filter completely. Another great feature of Virbeya is the notification feature. Each item has a subscribe tab. On this tab, you will be able to subscribe to a number of events. In this case, we can choose to receive a notification anytime this item's status changes to red. We can also receive a notification when somebody comments on this item. If we click Manage All Notifications, it will take us to the notification settings. This is also found on the Notifications tab on the board select screen. Here we can choose to receive notifications via email. If we don't choose to receive them by email, the notifications will still show up in our news feed. In the Settings tab, we also have the ability to turn on and off all notifications. We also have the ability to manage them one at a time, so we can enable and disable each one individually, and we can also change our options right from this Settings tab. There are a number of other features as part of Virbeya, and like I mentioned earlier, you can read about them in the FAQ section.